One thing that I found in my research that, to be honest, I haven't tried before is writing. But, when I was reading about this, I thought, hey, actually, it makes sense. It is actually a pretty good method. Because for me personally, in the past, when I've felt stress, I've just tried to sort it out in my head. I like to think I'm a smart person, as most people do. So I think, I can fight all of those problems in my head. But it's not entirely true, unfortunately. So the good thing about writing is that, all of these issues that are bothering you, causing you concern, you can kind of get them down on paper and have a visual representation of your issues. And, by tracking your issues like this, it's really going to help you to stay on top of them a bit more. It's going to help you to cope. So, try to write down the issues, write down maybe when they happened, write down who was involved as well. And, try to hang this up somewhere in your room. Don't just write it on your iPhone or your iPad because, when you write notes on the iPhone or the iPad, it's very easy to never look at them again. But if you have this up somewhere in your home, it's going to help you see it and remember. And you might even want to get a bit of a journal going. That way you can kind of compare, these different events that you have, these different moments where you're really feeling stressed. And by comparing them this way, you can kind of maybe find solutions to them as well. So yeah, writing would be a good way to also kind of just get it out, not keep it in your mind. Doesn't matter how smart you are or how smart you think you are, you need to let problems out. You need to vent them. We'll talk about venting a little bit more later on when we talk about communication. But yeah, that's it for the writing method. I haven't tried it out because I haven't been particularly stressed since doing this research, but I'm definitely going to try this out the next time I feel a bit of stress. So moving on to the next slide, hobbies. We did cover this a little bit in the eating slide, but we're going to go into more detail about it now. So, yet again, how do you fit a hobby into your busy, busy schedule? Try to make time for it as best you can. You don't need to have a hobby where you spend hours on it every day. You can have a hobby that you maybe just do once a week. Try to maybe do something with your friends, skiing or playing golf or playing tennis. It's going to get you out and about. And, the main thing about having a hobby is it's going to make you feel happier in general. And if you feel happier in general, you feel more confident and, the stress is not going to hit you so hard. So there's a bunch of different types of hobbies. We talked about doing something around the house earlier, which was cooking. Maybe you could also do gardening during the summer or the spring. Yeah, that's going to kind of help you get outside, going to get you some fresh air. Something like that would be pretty good. You can also do something which involves being creative. So by being creative, you're expressing yourself. Some of the best music albums, for example, have involved artists that were down or stressed out, and they used their music as a way to get that stress out of them. And it created some really good music in the process as well. And sometimes that just makes their life better afterwards. I'm not asking you to write a classic album or anything, but make sure you're expressing yourself. In some jobs, you don't get the chance to express yourself. So I think it's really important to try and find time to do that. Something else you can do is have a pet. Scientists have said that having a pet, it really helps, especially like a cat, because when you stroke a cat, it actually releases chemicals in your brain that actually make you feel more relaxed. So maybe you want a dog because they're more fun, but for me, my cat definitely makes me feel quite happy. And because he's sleeping all the time, it makes me feel sleepy in the evening as well. So yeah, get a pet. Why not? They're so much fun. Another thing I really recommend is traveling or experiencing culture. I think a lot of people feel unhappy because they're so stuck in routine, go to work, sleep, go to work. And a lot of people, when they have vacation, they just stay in their own country or stay in their own area, and they don't go anywhere. They just want to do things they can't normally do, like watching movies or hanging with friends. But a lot of people neglect the opportunity to travel. And, traveling in your own country is good, but I think it's better to go to somewhere abroad. Try to experience a culture you've never felt before. And, different cultures think of things in different ways. They think of dealing with stress differently to how your country might. So let's think about Spain, for example. In the middle of the day, they have siesta, where they try and, just take a nap pretty much around lunchtime. They work the same amount of hours as us, but they have that nap in the middle of the day to help them have the energy to work during the nighttime, as many people in Japan have to do. They have to work during the nighttime, but they don't have the nap, But just kind of going to different places and picking up on things like that can try and help you to think of new ways to fight stress. Another good thing would be, to become involved in volunteer or community work. So the words that probably worries you a little bit here maybe is work. You're thinking, well, I don't want to add more work to my plate. Let's ignore that word, pretend it's not there. The more important word is the word next to it, community. A lot of people these days can feel quite alone. They feel no sense of community. So, by doing some kind of community work or volunteer work, you can become involved in your community, you can get to know your neighbors, you can make new friends. Sometimes having such a busy schedule prevents people from making new friends. But, having this sense of community, of, being around the people around you, that can definitely benefit you in many ways also. So yeah, whatever you do, I hope it's something enjoyable. It doesn't have to be something new. It can be some kind of activity that you already do. But just try to make time for it. You're not a machine. Some people like to think they are machines, but at the end of the day, everybody needs something enjoyable in their life. Even if your work is enjoyable, you need something else which separates yourself from work for a little bit of time, Moving on to the next method you could use, this is something I definitely do, listening to music. So when we are feeling overwhelmed, having music to listen to can definitely help us quite a lot. Music is magical in a way. I can't even explain how sometimes music can just take us to a different place, and I'm not sure if anybody can, but music definitely has a kind of magic to it. So there's many different genres. Maybe you like what you like, but when it comes to trying to relax, try to listen to calm music, something that will have a positive effect on your brain and also your body as well. I think somehow music can also relax our bodies as well, not just our mind. So what genres should you listen to? Maybe you usually just listen to pop or something, but good genres for listening to music when you want to relax would be R&B, which means rhythm and blues. This is usually music that is sung, but it has a slow tempo. You can listen to ambient music, which is usually electronic, but it doesn't involve lyrics. This is good for me because if I listen to music which has lyrics, especially at nighttime, I can sometimes just focus way too much on the lyrics, but the ambient music doesn't have any. So, it might seem boring to you to not have lyrics, but that's good. It doesn't make us focus on them too much sometimes. Another thing you can do, it doesn't even have to be like a song by an artist. You go to YouTube and listen to some kind of nature sounds. There's lots of videos which last for like an hour or so, which is just like a recording of like a river inside of a jungle or of a beach maybe. And, those kind of natural sounds can kind of help us become drowsy and, kind of create an effect on our body where the muscles become a bit more relaxed. So that's something that would also be good. But yeah, listen to something that's going to help you unwind. Personally, I like hip hop, I like rock music, but those musics make me feel amped up. They make me feel like, you know, I want to dance or I want to work out or something like that. So maybe, you know, if you do love those genres, maybe listen to those in the gym and listen to some ambient music or some jazz when you get home. So yeah, music is definitely a magical tool in my opinion. But yeah, that's the next method. Next, we're going to kind of focus a little bit more on communication. So earlier I talked about venting. So you probably know what a vent is. It kind of helps some kind of building system get air or some kind of liquid out. For example, like a fish tank will have a vent which allows the dirty water to kind of get out of the tank. So when we talk about stress and venting, what we mean is we help the stress get out of us. We're allowing it to vent just like the dirty water in a fish tank. You know, so by talking to people, saying it out loud, we're venting. So you can do that with the writing that we talked about a little earlier, but, you know, by talking with your friends, it's also going to help you to vent those issues. And you never know, your friends might have been through things that you don't actually know about, and they might have tips or advice for you. So talking to your friends or family members can help. Maybe it doesn't even have to be friends or family members. Maybe see a professional as well, because they're not going to judge you at all. You know, they have ethics where they can't judge you and they can't talk about it to other people. So, you know, if you really need someone to vent to, but you feel like you can't talk to your friends or family, you know, see some kind of professional as well. Moving on to the next point here, clouding your judgment. So stress can definitely cloud your judgment. So what does this mean? So imagine you are flying a plane. You've probably not done it before, but if it's really cloudy, it makes it harder to see, right? So that kind of makes life difficult for the pilot. So when we say in daily life that something is clouding our judgment, it means it's making it harder to see things clearly. You know, once again, in our minds, we all feel pretty smart and we feel like we know what we're doing, but stress can cloud our judgment. It can tell us we're right about something when we're wrong about something. You know, so sometimes talking to a friend can help to put things into perspective. You know, you might see your stress in a certain way, but when you describe it to a friend, they might see it differently. They might see it more clearly, and because they're not maybe stressed out at the time, so they can kind of judge things without stress affecting their judgment. So yeah, definitely try to talk about it with people as much as you can. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the talk about it slide. So the next thing we're going to talk about in terms of using communication is learning to say no. So once again, going back to thinking about how other people see us, we want to try and impress people. We want to, you know, try and do our best all the time. So a lot of the time at work, people can, you know, take on too much work. They don't want to say no to people because they're worried that, you know, they're going to be rejected or they're going to have some kind of conflict because of that. So fear of conflict or rejection is pretty much just, you know, like when we're worried that if we say no, the boss is going to be angry at us or the coworker's not going to help us in the future. You know, or the fear of rejection is when we feel like we're going to be seen as lazy or we're not going to be seen as good enough or capable. So, of course, you don't want to be seen that way, but don't always say no, you know, yes. Try to say no when you need to. You know, you can definitely feel reluctant, which means, you know, you have that fear, but try to just give people a straight no sometimes. And sometimes it's hard to say no, right? Well, so why is it so hard? Well, it's because of the fear of conflict and rejection, among other things. But try to let people down more gently when you say no. Don't just say, no, go away. You know, that will definitely cause conflict. But if you can let people down more gently, that's going to make you feel less guilty about saying no, and it's going to cause less problems with that person as well. So I've put together some example phrases on the right there. So you can say something like, I am sorry, but I can't commit to this as I have other priorities at the moment. Or you can say, now is not a good time as I'm in the middle of something. Why don't you ask me again at a later date? Next week, I might be not as busy. So that way, if you say something like this, the person's not going to judge you as much, and they're not going to hold anything against you. So yeah, just learn to say no. Don't always say yes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Learn to Say No slide. And actually, that's pretty much the last slide. So thanks for watching. I'm sorry if you knew every single thing here, but if you learned a new thing or two, I'm happy that maybe it will help you in the future. If you were just here to learn English, then I hope that you were able to do that too. So make sure to go back and have a look at all of those different words in the vocabulary section. Try to memorize them as best you can, and try to put these tips into good use. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I see you in one of my classes sometime soon. Thank you. Goodbye.